Welcome to OnFinality's customer interview series, where we learn more from leaders in the blockchain space and how OnFinality's infrastructure helps them build the decentralized future faster. I'm Rob, head of growth at OnFinality, and today it's our distinct pleasure to have Marvin from Phala Network to join us with a chat on how they're using OnFinality's expertise. Hey Marvin, how's it going?
Everything great. Thank you, Robert, and thank you for having me. And hi, everyone from our Finality and Subquery community. It's really glad to meet you guys here.
Can you tell us, Marvin, a little bit about Phala Network, what it does and why it's so important?
Great. Although we already built this project for over 3 years, but I still remember the first day when we write down the white paper and set up our goal, which never changed. Our goal for Phala Network is to decentralize the off-chain. So first, we believe in that in the near future, a Web3 will replace the Web2 technology. It's only about wine, but we never doubt it will come. So based on that perspective, we think we need to expand the Web3 infrastructures from on-chain to off-chain. And but it's really hard and tricky and local road, to build the off-chain in a decentralized way. But this is where we are at, and what is our goal. So Phala Network is a parroting of obviously on Polkadot and Kusama, both relations, but we are not providing the on-chain service from the parachain. The existing for these parachains, the only purpose is that with that infra, we can management thousands or even over 100,000 of server that providing off-chain computation power. So so this is basically what we are building, and we are really glad that we are part of the Polkadot family.
Thanks. So, from a layperson's point of view, they can think of this effectively like an Amazon in Web3, more or less, right? You're providing a service to builders, and they can take, rather than using some of these Web2 computation services like a GCP or Amazon, you're providing that type of service for people, correct?
Yeah, in general, yes, and it's a little bit hard to decline the difference from Web2 cloud native stacks into Web3, but I can try that. For example, the traditional or Web2 cloud platform, what they're providing is one stack solution, means that the developers just need to log in, bonded with the credit card, and they can do almost whatever they want to do, from one single platform. For example, you can storage data on Amazon Cloud. You can do the execute computation, run your program. You can use function as service. You can also use Docker as service, and you can use CDN, and streaming, all of the cloud services from there. But in Web3, I think what we are trying to do is not just the Phala, all the Web3 builders are trying to do is to break down the one stack solution into hundreds of different specialized protocols, and each protocol providing one service. But because of the decentralization on the infra of these hundreds of different protocols, so every protocol is solid and instanceable and decentralized governed. So that's the major difference from what you see in Web2 cloud platform and Web3. And what Phala is doing is only to deal with one thing, which is off-chain computation. And computation, the word itself is a little bit abstract, but smart contract we can see smart contract as one part of the computation, but there are multi different types of computations as well. For example, when you want to execute some program, using different data source from Ethereum and Binance, or Twitter. This kind of in traditional development workflow, you need to set up a back-end service, like a subscription program, to execute these different data source and database, and this apparently have a huge improvement in Web3, since we host the most valuable logic on smart contract on layer ones, but in the meanwhile, because the limits of blockchain itself. So when you want to interact with Binance, when you want to interact with Twitter, when you want to integrate with 10 layer ones information together, you will find your hands been limit, and Phala is born for that. And to build that solution, we present a production which called Fat Contract, and of course that's where we begin to use OnFinality service and subquery. We think indexing and RPC is definitely one of the most important infra to build such services as well.
Yeah, I think that's really helpful, Marvin. I think that's one of the most exciting things about what you guys are doing, and maybe what a lot of people don't really understand so much, who maybe aren't in crypto or blockchain yet, that there's so many of these really integral parts of like just getting things up and running from an infrastructural level across like any particular dApp that you might need. You still need these kind of things to power the back end of so many things. So it's like these sort of tools are so powerful. But what right now, I guess there's, we still acknowledge that there's issues in terms of, all sorts of things. But, how does, say, Phala Network, deal with issues like speed and processing power and things like that? Is that like where are you at with that, or what does the future look like compared to what it how you can process things now?
Yeah, that's a good question. I mean, our team, or at least the founder team, we can call ourselves like Web3 native people. Like we really believe in the bright future on this, and we sometimes we don't even believe in the crypto is born to deal with, to make, the real world, to bring real world assets or business into the Web3 scenario. Sometimes we think Web3 is built for digital citizens, and we have this conversation before, right? So, and of course, the limits are there. So, for example, almost all the applications your iPhone can deal with, tons, 10,000, 100,000, a million thousand of TFS, and low, almost zero latency when you play with the others. But decentralized service apparently have a trade-off from performance to the decentralization itself. But we think it's still very promising, since now all of the Web3 builders begin to, how to say, specialize different layers, so we can see how it's going after forward in the next 10 years. So maybe Ethereum, Polkadot will be the most strongest layer 0 in the world to provide a trustless service to any other infra on top of them, but they will be the trust base. Actually, it's trustless base, but trust base. Yeah, but to that perspective, we don't even need to run any business on layer 0, so the performance is not an issue, it's not a problem. Like Polkadot infra is very elegant, right? It's like a trusted machine, and it's renting its slots to the business executor layers, like smart contract layer or off-chain cloud layer, or indexing layer. It doesn't matter, but the trust itself, trustless infra itself is the most valuable creation in the last 5-10 years being created in crypto and Web3. And since Ethereum 2 already launched and Polkadot is getting more and more popular, I believe that in the specialized blockchain will become something can solve that problem you point out, like the performance, the complex of applications, these kind of trouble and issues. And this is what we called Web3 stack. So, I mean, of course, layer one is incredibly helpful to that builders, but smart contract is part of the stack. There are many other stacks. There are also indexing stack like subquery or the graph protocol, and there are RPC stack, right? Like OnFinality and Pink Node or Infra, all of these infras, and there are data storage layers, right? Like Rwave and Faircoin, computation layers like Phala, off-chain computation layers like Phala. Yeah, I believe the future will belongs to Web3 stacks, and both Phala and Finality is part of the stack, but the stack is built on very, very solid ground, which is layer 0 or stronger layer 1 like Ethereum or Polkadot. So yeah, I'm not worried about performance issues. We will deal with it and we will solve it, both teams.
Yeah, I agree. It's inevitable, right? That this is the way everything is going, and I think there's so many like amazing, the potential of this. Everyone sees it, and I think it's just a matter of time. And as you say, many of the things that will happen are just going to be Web3 native rather than necessarily having to take the existing Web2 thing into Web3. With that, you mentioned several times there about kind of this kind of idea of like trust and trustlessness and so on. With the issues that have been happening in the last week or two in crypto, and you kind of been like a really important interface in a sense between, or a connector between Web 2 and Web 3, and doing things for projects in this way. Like, what do you think this is whole? Does this change anything, or what about the use cases now potentially because of some of the things that have happened in the last week or two? For Phala, does new things open up because of this?
Good question. Pretty sharp. I think everyone who still believe in Web3 will learn lessons definitely, but the fraud still, almost I think create incredibly damage in the business, especially for the investors and institutions who jump in the business in the last 2 years, DeFi summer and NFT summer, and it will create more damage on some certain ecosystem as far as I know. I think Polkadot is one of the least damaged ecosystem from here because, like I mentioned, we build step by step, layer by layer, so every layer is solid. But in short term, I think it is something we can call a disaster in our business because it crushed people's confidence in crypto. And if you check on all of the news, on financial papers, like even they don't care if you are a Web3 builder or you're just degen, trader. If you're telling people, okay, I'm in the business of crypto, wow, right? They will leave a bad impression on you because this is what people see from newspapers headlines. But in the long run, in longer term, I think this is huge helpful to clean out the bad apples. So this is, of course, clean out the bad apple is just a step one. Step two is people need to increase their sensitive or taste on identify what are the bad apples. So how to do that, right? So as we can see, in the last 2 weeks, most of the exchanges begin to provide the Merkle tree proof to prove that their funds are people's funds in their exchanges are secured, and this is not that wild. It's not that principle level in the business before. Only few exchange do that, but not all of them. But now, if you open up a shop and tell people, I don't have a Merkle tree proof, you are not going to run a business. So this is kind of like good effective from the flood disaster. But I believe this is just a beginning. And after that, people will ask more questions like, can we build a more trustless centralized exchange, or can we build a something to replace that, to replace the market maker, to replace the investment? And I think this is really pushing the technology being buy-in for consumers, which apparently most of the people doesn't care so much about decentralization in the last 2 years. I mean, it's good for DeFi summer, NFT summer, but what I think is just chasing the hype. But after this, I believe people really care about where they put their money in, and the way they put their money in. So it's a good news for the guys who are building Web3 infra services, building trusted toolings, building DeFi, and more decentralized gaming NFT platforms. So this is good for long term.
Yeah, absolutely. I think there was there was something earlier this year where a number of Web3 services went down. It's quite publicized because of reliance on stuff in Web2, right? And I think some of the things that you're seeing even this week, where people are kind of going, looking at sort of the obvious stuff that's been happening, but then going like a step further and asking more questions. And as you say, like the exchanges having doing the proof of reserves, and even that being interrogated a bit based on what some people are saying, and so on. And so I think, yeah, it would seem like you guys are in a great position to, when people understand more and more about what can be done and perhaps what should be done by different companies in the space or people trying to come into this space, would seem like that's a great opportunity for Phala. Sorry.
I mean, just one follow-up thoughts on that is, I think this is generally how the interhuman being make a progression, right? So, I mean, people very hard to imagine like 100 years ago, like the workers in in Britain, in America need to work more than 100 hours per week, most of them. But after that, we got labor protection, laws to protect people's right, because there's so much damage happening. And it's also very hard to imagine like 50 years ago, Los Angeles have the worst environment, air conditioned environment in the world. A lot of people like just die because of the poison fogs. But after that, we value the environment protection so much. So now California have very good, weather and environment, and all of that stuff. So this is like these bad apple driven events help the human being got evolved by ourselves and improvement. Yeah,
absolutely. And I think you mentioned before that obviously you guys are basically one of the OGs in Polkadot, right? Like you guys won the part of the first substrate builders program, I think, won Web3 Foundation grants and so on, and have been a big proponent of Polkadot itself. What's the most exciting thing to you about the Polkadot ecosystem, and like is for the future of Phala, will you always remain there, or will this solution then be ported into other L1s or L0s?
Yeah, good one. Thank you. So the thing from us, Polkadot, is the security sharing, to be honest. And of course, the modular SDK substrate is also magic work. It can help you to set up anything you want quickly. But of course, it's not zero cost, but still compared with other solutions, it's a lot of improvement on the development side. And security sharing, actually, I think is been seriously undervalued by people. um, Let me put on one example. Okay, so you're just like a senior, sorry, a junior salesman, and you walk in a room with all of the billionaires. You're trying to sell something on them. So what would possible happen? They will refuse you because they don't trust you, and they push you out of the room. So you are not part equal position with everyone here. They're billionaires, and you are just a junior salesman. But this is what happened on other, let's so-called ecosystem, with also very good modular setup toolings for blockchains, because when your secure level is different with any others, so the secure level for the proof of stake blockchain almost bounded with the market cap on these coins. So if you are a billion market cap blockchain, that you are level A, and if you are 100 millions market cap for your coin, then your blockchain secure level is level B. And when level B and level A blockchain want to communicate with each other, the effective for the communication will be hard. No matter what's the magic technology behind it, it will be hard, because trust is it's just a different secure level and different trust game theory base. But on Polkadot, the amazing thing is, no matter what your coin market cap is, but each parachain share the same position on secure level, and that create a very comfortable, equally and high effective environment for communication, for cross-chain communication. And that's why the cross-chain message passing makes sense, because uh, it it just will be most safe to have every billionaire in the room. And I know that everyone is, it's the same in the same wealthy level. So I know you are taking it serious, and we are on the same position. We can talk about business, we can talk about collaborations. So I'm just using just a comparison, guys. We don't actually doing that, in the room billionaires, but that is just a sample. So in technical, yes, secret level, equally secure level is one of the things I think is the most potential and undervalued feature on Polkadot. People don't know that. To be honest, people don't know that. But yeah, this
People are finding out now.
yeah, I hope so. Because a lot of people talk to me like, okay, Marvin, why you are on Polkadot, right? What is so amazing? What's the difference from Polkadot and other, let's say, Cosmos or Ethereum, beacon chain? So I will give them this example. I think this is this is truth. The fact you do your own research, but I think this is appearance undervalued. And to follow, so what we are providing is not on-chain service. So of course, it will be much easier for us to collaborate or help other parachains to set up stuff. But on the other hand, people don't need to interact. How to say? When you use Phala Cloud, it's really simple. You just need to stake Phala token and get your resources. You host your program. That's it. So our service because our service option service integrate HTTP request capability. So it means that we can no matter indexing from other layer ones or make on-chain calls to other layer ones, the two tracks are both workable. So yeah, we want to get widely adoption on any blockchain ecosystem, and we can do it. So just imagine, yeah, we can host you can deployment some smart contract on Ethereum, but behind the smart contract, some of the smart contract moves and some of the contract management are controlled by your shadow contract, which hosting on Fed contract. So you basically can see Phala as a layer 2 to any layer 1. So this is what we are doing.
Wow. Wow, interesting. Super powerful. And I know that you guys are also involved in like bridging within the Polkadot ecosystem, right? Like some of the messaging. Maybe you
Yeah.
can talk more about that.
Yeah. So the bridge itself, so far, we are just to feed whatever our community members need, but we got bridges. I mean, the bridge we built already connected with Ethereum, right, to Kala, the parachain on Kusama, Ethereum to Phala, the parachain on Polkadot, and overall we also open up a lot of XCM channels with other parachains. But what is the case? Instead of just a transfer Phala token, so far there is no case except just liquidity for Phala token. But we are also developing something more powerful to trying to fix something on Polkadot DeFi scenario. So one thing I realized limits the Polkadot DeFi, which is the liquidity on Polkadot is distributed on so many parachains and so many swipes on each parachain and so many pairs on each swipes. You see there are 3 layers to distribute the liquidity from maybe 1 billion to 10K. So eventually, when you want to swipe down to KSM, you'll find, okay, there is no such pool. And if on some pair, you see there is a pair like this, you will find out the TL is just a 10K. So it's not okay. I mean, people won't use it. Even the traders won't use it. So how to deal with it? We want to use our bridge and the ability to XM to create something like a router. And with that router, you can almost trade any token swipe any token from any parachain, any swipe to the B side, to the target side. So and I think in the beginning, maybe the major user on this is not coming from retail people, but from like other DeFi protocol. For example, if you want to set up a yield protocol on Polkadot, it also be very hard because you're kind of lacking of infras like a router. So there are still many things be missing up. Actually, yesterday Ray just proposed Ray from Parity just proposed her consideration about Polkadot DeFi on Polkadot forum, and welcome to check it. I think it's very interesting insight as well.
Interesting. Yeah, and yeah, OnFinality's had a long history, I guess. Also, like you guys have been in Polkadot, since the early days, and providing the node and API infrastructure. I was talking to Luke from Crust actually the other day, and he said that you introduced him to us, and so I was wondering, how did you find about OnFinality, and how do the services that we provide benefit builders and the team in Phala?
Yeah, I mean, in the beginning, I think it's the Akala team introduced OnFinality to us, and um, um, it's just something that professional teams or specialized team will do it better than our own operators, and it totally makes sense to distribute a task on the best guy, best hand, right, on it. So the node as service, RPC service, providing, oh, yeah, this concept is not that it's called data availability now. Yeah, DA. So the DA service providing by OnFinality is just is very professional and standardized, cloud native, so it can help our team to reduce huge development costs and operation costs. And the service itself is also stable, good, right? And we don't need to pay bills by credit card, but from on-chain treasury, which is really fitable for blockchain project, right? Because because the beneficial is to all Phala community members, so the on-chain treasury can cover that cost. All of these things are amazing. And the next, I think the next road from your perspective is how to make it decentralized.
Yeah, there's a lot of thanks for the feedback. There's a lot of conversations internally about all sorts of stuff like this. So there's a lot of interesting things that we're working on to kind of improve the core product, but also kind of that future thinking about where is this going to go. So yeah, it's interesting times, and I guess that's from Phala's point of view, I think there's so many potential applications for this decentralized computation, right? I was looking through some of your material, obviously things like GameFi, NFTs, machine learning and rendering and all sorts of things where you're bringing together these composable sort of applications together. Where, like right now, or what's the most rich opportunity for this in terms of where, say, in the next year or so, do you think it's going to be like the most exciting thing for Phala, or is there a particular area, or is?
Thank you. Yeah. So I would say the modular programs on Fed contract. So Fed contract is the way that you can use Phala, and it's a function as service or serverless platform. But it's running in a decentralized computation environment, which is Phala network. So you don't need to worry about any centralized company controlling your program. It's running by P2P network. So, I mean, it's really easy to use Fed contract. You just need to say token, host your program, and the platform will automatically executing it for you. You can verify the steps by on-chain logs. And but of course, at the beginning, I believe there will be a lot of challenge, because we don't know who and how people would use it. So our team be fully prepared on facing the challenge. And so the next step is, I think, we want to create a increasing or growth ecosystem on top of Fed contract, because Fed contract is openness and interactability. So for example, if someone write up a scription as Fed contract in today, then tomorrow when another the developer want to set up a program, he can use some part of service coming from today's program. So it's like smart contract. Everyone is contributing and for the future. So it will be quite powerful. But on the other hand, we want to encourage the most requested modules being contributed in the early stage, and we will keep a close eye on that as well. So this is our first priority job in the future. What's the best way to modular Fed contract? Written by third-party developers and presented to the future developers. So this is our biggest challenge.
Awesome. And I saw that you guys have this Phala world, which is pretty interesting. And I guess like a use case that you're demonstrating how people can use this fat contract. Can you explain more about that? Because it's quite innovative, how you can, I think you described it as like a digital representation in this sort of NFT universe of your actual work or participation in the Phala network, right?
Yeah, the description sounds a little bit abstract, right? So it's like I mean it's pretty like a mirror for metaverse. So when you check your data profile for each individuals on blockchain explorer, it's just a database, right? Metadata, a length of logs. But we want to transform your digital profile from this type of data format into a more interesting and lively character. So this is what we are trying to do. You can just think like, okay, Phala World is a blockchain explorer for what's happening on Phala in the metaverse. So you're not developer, you are wizard. You're not computer provider, you are a robot droid in the digital world. So we just want to make our community looks more interesting and adventure. So yeah, this is what we are trying to do, just to feed something good to our community. And on another hand, I really realized one major parameter to decline different level of crypto projects. I think how you can educate and the people is the key. It's really hard. I mean, I believe 90% of people still don't understand what's running behind Bitcoin. It's really hard. I don't blame them because it's really hard. So I think using the power of gaming, NFT, and metaverse, we can educate, people more easily, more accessible way to understand everything. And this is another reason why we put Phala World as a progression, digital progression mirror for whatever happens in on-chain, in governance, in Discord. So yeah, this is what we are trying to do. A VIP or it's a membership system in the metaverse, but presented as a game, feels like a game. But what you are playing in the game is actually you. It is whatever you are doing to contribute to Phala from on-chain perspective and social media. So yeah, this is what we are trying to do.
Yeah, it's really, really interesting. And like, is there, like, would you guys ever look at taking that to, other third parties, like as a concept and try and monetize that? That, hey, like that's a demonstration of what other people can do. Like what you're doing. Is that something you would look at doing, or this is strictly going to stay within the Phala community? And those people, or do you think it's got more legs to go into other places?
So far, I think the first job for us is like we have to set up certain things and make it stand. Make it be accepted by our community first. And when we have the confidence to say, hey, Phala World is really helping Phala community to grow, to educate, then we can share. And of course, all of the code base are transparency and open source already. But open source doesn't actually mean everything. It's sometimes when people say, okay, I'm open source, it means trust me, verify me, I'm just there. But it's not. So after we can prove that this Phala World is really helping us, I think we will try to moderate it so that maybe we can help OnFinality or any other parachain to build similar experience if you want. So this is the next things. But first, we have to prove it work. I mean, it worked. It's already working. We got really good NFT sales, but we also need to prove, okay, we can educate people well in this system. We can set up a high value quest to be attractive for our audience, right? So we want to prove some metrics first. And with that proof, I think it will be easy to scale the module for many parachains as well. And in the meanwhile, we to just to make sure Phala World can launch, we almost contribute most of the code for Remark palette as substrate native. So this can be easily used by any other parachain as well. So I know that for the EVM composable parachains, it would be more easier, to set up Remark in Solidity, but I mean, most of the parachains are still, in substrate native level. So for these guys, they can use the Remark palette, and we are glad to help to set it up.
Yeah, really cool, really cool. And like, I mean, how did you? I mean, there's a lot of people who are, in say Web2 currently. I think you previously worked at Tencent. How would you advise people to either like get into crypto or go from Web2 to Web3? Yeah, interested in your perspective.
Yeah, I will suggest everyone to read about Bitcoin white paper first. It's you're not mathematics guy or data science or computer science background. I think everyone can understand the value from the white paper, from the write up. It's really revolution level paper. And my general suggestion is this is the best timing to build something. Of course, everyone is saying that, but this is the best timing to learn crypto or learn Web3, test the most solid productions like Uniswap, OpenSea, all of the DeFi protocols you heard about but never really tried. This is the time, is the best time to have it, to try it all. After you got roughly sense of for the value of Web3 and blockchain, I think this is also the best timing to step into the business, to step into the industry, because bear market of course frighten a lot of investors out, but it also means the cost for everything is reducing. These gas fees, this competition, this scammy shit, like sorry, the scams, because yeah. Because because the market is just so down, so scams are just not that popular again. But for builders, or you want to just study stuff, yeah, the cost is the lowest in bear market. Just try in. We founded Phala Network in the last bear market, and although the major tricky part is you are very hard to raise money, but you don't necessarily have to build up your own stuff. You can join in some company in Web3 or crypto. If you don't want to join in the companies, you can also use your personal time to build something or to participate in some community. Everything is cheap now, and the guys who are still doing a lot of stuff in bear market also is really decent. So yeah, I think bear is the best timing for people to step in.
Yeah, absolutely. There's that saying, I think, when the tide goes out, you see who's swimming naked or something like that. And
Yeah.
so definitely now it's interesting times. But yeah, I think one of obviously the great things about what you're doing, for people who are coming into the space, is that it's just critical services, right? And those things are going to be there. It's not, you guys aren't some vaporware thing. You're providing a really interesting offering, to builders in the space. And so awesome. Yeah, thanks again, Marvin. Great to chat today and learn about decentralized computation just a little bit. Big subject. Really exciting though. I mean, if you'd like to learn more about Phala, you can check out their website. If you're a Web3 builder and want to get stuck into Phala, OnFinality is the right place. You can check out our website, app.onfinality.io. You can get up to 500,000 API requests daily, absolutely free. And once you're there, you can take your DApp to the next level by checking out, we've got extensive monitoring tools, all sorts of cool stuff, always getting better. And it's really easy. So check out the website and well, thanks again to Marvin.
Thank you, Rob, for having me, and thank you the entire OnFinality team for supporting Phala on this all the time as well. And we really appreciate it and love the collaboration, partnership, and looking forward on the new productions for your team as well. And let's build it together.
Yeah, awesome. No worries, Marvin. Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Rob. See you.
Cheers.
Bye.
See you.